welcome to Inside Indy. And today we're going to talk about an organization, a foundation that is named after an Indianapolis gentleman. And I'm not sure if he's from Indy, but he sure is having an impact on our city. We'll be talking about the Ken Thorpe Foundation, but here to fill us in on all the details is Judy Olds.
Hi, Kelly. It's good to see you again.
And we've seen each other many times over the years. She is currently the Director of Community Relations for Ken Thorpe Foundation.
And Community Reach.
And Community Reach. Welcome.
Thank you.
To reaching out to us here at TV.
Yes, it's great. It's great to be here. I tried to get Ken to come with me, but he was very busy today. So.
I can't even imagine. He's probably the best kept secret in Indianapolis in terms of people who are having an impact and impacting lives in our city. But before we talk about the Ken Thorpe Foundation, I want to talk about you a little bit.
Oh, gosh.
Because this isn't the first organization that you have been behind to help their mission go forward.
Right. No, I sometimes feel like I'm the nonprofit queen because I've been around for a long time. A lot of people my age are retired and wonder why I'm not, but I just can't do that. I love it, and I've been in it, and every time I think I'm going to get out of the nonprofit field, I get sucked right back in it, and that's what happened with Ken. So I'm excited. It's fun.
Of course, you and I go way back to the Muscular Dystrophy Family Foundation.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Okay. Because I left there in 2006.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
So it has been a while.
But we used to do things together with 107.9 WTBI with Steve Cooper.
Steve Cooper.
That's how I know you, because he was actually on your board, right?
He was an advisor.
Advisor to the board,
right,
okay.
Right, so he was a client, and, passed just in December, and we miss him desperately.
Yes.
We miss him desperately.
So many years with Steve, and so we're so good to see you. Kind of like a little reunion for us.
Yes.
So, yeah. So with Ken Thorpe, now how did you get involved with this foundation?
Well, I went to work for a company that he's got some dollars in, and realized as we got to talking that he had a couple of foundations that he was interested in having somebody work with him. They'd just been kind of laying stagnant. And I said, well, let me show you my resume. And so I left the one company and went over to his, and they had definitely been sitting stagnant. The Ken Thorpe Foundation is a wonderful organization that gives scholarships to minority students. It's a $1,000 scholarship.
Nice.
It's unrestricted, and when you're in school, that unrestricted money is so important, because if you want to buy a pizza and all of your money is restricted, maybe you can't do that. But with the Ken Thorpe Foundation, with the scholarships, you can do whatever you want with it.
There's apparently a reason why he did that way.
Yes, I think he's been in college. He's definitely a college graduate. Ken's a veteran, an entrepreneur, and as you said, a lot of folks do know him or know his work.
Yeah. And
so the Ken Thorpe Foundation was established several years ago, and Community Reach was established in 2014 as a 501c3. And it is used it was used to do some programs. It's a house that's located at 3535 North Penn. And it's huge. I mean, those homes along that area.
Yeah, yeah, and
they're
gorgeous,
beautiful mansions. Yeah. And so there were several programs that were being provided over there, and then funding got cut, and then COVID hit, and so the programs were moved to another part of an organization, a for-profit that he's involved with, called Compass Residential Services. As I said, that's a for-profit, and that's residential services for individuals with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities. And he's had that organization now 11 years. They just celebrated their 11th anniversary a few weeks ago.
Wow.
So, like you said, he's got his hands in everything.
Yeah.
So, but I'm here to really talk about the Reach House.
Okay.
Because Ken is so fun. And when I started working for him, he said, I really want you to focus on getting the Reach House up and running. And I said, that's great. And then I went and looked at it. And I didn't realize that he wanted me to completely have it renovated. And it needs renovating.
Okay, so this sounds like an addition of HD TV as well. So take us there. So when you first went, what did you see?
I saw a house that had just was in dire need of renovations. I mean, from start to finish. But I kind of want to go back and talk about what Community Reach is.
Okay.
Community Reach is going to be a respite house for individuals with developmental or intellectual disabilities. And the Reach stands for respect, empowerment, acceptance, compassion, and hope. And these are individuals that, sometimes even if you're married, you just need a break from your husband, or if you need a break from your kids once in a while because they get on your nerves. Well, if you have a family member that's got a developmental or intellectual disability, sometimes you really do need a break. And so the Reach House will be a respite for individuals. They will be covered by the Medicaid waiver in Indiana, which allows individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities to remain in their home and not be institutionalized. So we're trying to get the Reach House redone, and then we will offer it as a respite for up to 2 weeks at a time with the individual and their case manager.
So you talk about those who have challenges. So say someone who has a family member who has Alzheimer's. Is that what you mean? And then you're
No, that's not it, because an Alzheimer's person could wander. Okay. And this is not a locked environment or a secure home. It's a respite, kind of like a hotel, if you will.
Okay.
And a lot of these folks still live with their parents, or they live independently. Okay. And by having the Reach House, then we can offer this to other organizations in the state that maybe don't have a facility like this. Daymar Center is just getting ready to open a bunch of individual homes that they're kind of grouped together. But again, to have folks keep their independence.
Wow.
And maintain that institutionalized setting is not the greatest. It's just not. And years ago, that's where all the folks like these went. And it wasn't a good situation. So as we've gotten kids more involved in the classroom learning regardless of a disability, and we're doing the same thing with the adults.
Okay.
So, but the house has to be renovated 100%. Did I mention that? And I mean, we're talking from architects.
Did I mention that?
From architect to design to drawing. I had to make notes here.
Because you got a lot going on there.
Yeah, the permits and then the actual construction. So we're looking at $1.5 million to get this done the way we really, really want it. I mean, currently this house is 7 bedrooms. We want to increase that to 10. Wow. Currently it has 5 bathrooms and 2 half baths. We want to increase that. It only has 1 kitchen, but it's a phenomenal kitchen. And I want it to look like some of the things you see on the design shows when we're all finished with that. So it will be a communal kitchen. And then there's a huge basement that can be used for meetings, there's one area in the basement that could be used for a Zumba class or something like that. It's very large. I mean, the house is 5,703 square feet. Wow. And the lot's 19,058 square feet. Okay. So I had to have those written down or I would have forgotten it.
I see it. Now, maybe you already have this on the burner, but I see a home show in this. Kind of what you do on Meridian Street and you open it up for...
Pennsylvania. It's on Pennsylvania. Kelly, it's rough, okay? I mean, another nonprofit organization had it for several years. And when they moved out and then Community Reach or, Compass Residential had it for a few years. And then when they moved their programming away from the house because of funding, the house has been sitting empty for 2 years, and that's not good for any property,
right?
Especially a house like this. And the fun thing is, if I can find my little note.
Because I'm thinking if you shot all these pictures, and then once it's gone through renovation, open it to the public for a tour. And you know how when you go to the decorator show house,
yes,
you see the before pictures. Of course, you can also have a tour to see it before because people love it. I mean, that's really hot right now. You can make probably
1.5 million.
to do a home show, and not to mention all the pub you would get for such a good cause, because of course on decorated show house is great,
Yeah.
but people
Well,
move back into their homes.
What I found out recently from the architect that I spoke with is that the property is located in the Shortridge Meridian Apartments Historic District and is on the National Register of Historic Places. So I'm hoping that we can get some funding from there.
Okay, very good.
But there's some real stipulations with that.
Oh yeah, all the
As you
rules.
can imagine. And so I
regulations.
have another note here someplace.
Well, now how can somebody watching now who would want to perhaps be a part of this, donate, maybe,
Well, and we're
maybe even
looking-
supplies? I don't.
I need 25,000 to start. I mean, to get the architect in so that we can at least get that, the plans drawn up.
Okay.
And
okay.
then, I could have I don't know, maybe 10 donors donate 100,000 each.
Okay, okay,
just
okay.
a small little, get it out of your pocket.
Okay,
I probably lost that card somewhere.
So we have the information on the screen. Then for people, would that be which phone number? The office then, 317-602-7756
Yes,
to call
that
that
would be,
number, and if
yes.
somebody wants to contribute,
That
you
would
just
be-
never know who's
I know,
watching.
you really don't. And the mission and what it's going to do for individuals it's so valid and so needed. And we have a lot of minority individuals that we serve, and they really, really need some assistance here. I mean, we've got some wonderful case managers in Indianapolis and through Medicaid and the waiver program and so forth. But I'm just really excited about doing this house and getting it done and
Okay.
seeing what it's going to look
Well,
like.
I know it's going to happen with you involved, but we're out of
Thank you.
time. But we got the information on the screen, and we encourage people to call.
If
and
anybody
to
wants to
donate.
just write a check, we'd be happy to take that.
Okay, I love it. Judy Olds, Director of Community Relations for the Ken Thorpe Foundation
And
the-
Community Reach.
and the Community Reach House. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kelly.
On Inside Indy, and we'll be back with more here on Inside Indy after this.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
And we're back here on Inside Indy. And as you know, COVID-19, the pandemic, has taken a toll on all of us. But there are certain groups of people we don't often think about who have their own set of struggles in the midst of the pandemic, especially mothers, parents with newborns who face challenges. And we think, oh, those things, we address those issues just like we normally do, not in the event of a pandemic. And here to talk about those challenges and some help for those who face those challenges is Dr. Cameual Wright. And you are the Vice President and Market Chief Medical Officer for CareSource, right?
That is correct.
Welcome to Inside Indy.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here with you today.
Now, when I got word about this and I saw CareSource, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know, I'd not heard of CareSource. So what is CareSource?
So CareSource is a multi-state medical health plan, and we cover many lives, over 2 million lives, in Medicaid, Marketplace, and Medicare Advantage programs. One thing that I feel makes us unique is that we not only address the medical needs of our members, but we also turn our attention to those social needs as well. Many times it's the social issues that create challenges for us and can oftentimes compete with some of those other things that we consider to be priorities, such as taking care of oneself. So at CareSource, we look at individuals from 360 degrees.
Okay, when you said social issues, for instance.
So for instance, we're talking food insecurity, employment challenges, housing challenges, trouble with clothing, childcare, all of those factors that are part of day-to-day life, but can really be a barrier for some individuals. And so what we want to do is, number one, address that as a very important aspect of people's lives, and then put together individuals and programs and incentives and anything that we might be able to do to help bust through those barriers.
Okay, that's comforting to know. I love it. I love it. So now, in this particular case, you're doing something special regarding moms of neonatal intensive care unit babies.
That's correct.
Okay, so what's going on there?
Sure. So this was actually born out of a collaboration with some of our health providers. And in talking to some pediatric providers, they shared with us that one of the challenges that came to light during the pandemic is the need for families to make frequent visits back to the doctor's office with children, particularly those who had been recently released from the neonatal intensive care unit. It's obviously very important to keep a close eye on those infants. And one of the things that you really want to monitor is their growth. And so weight checks become very important to make sure that the baby is growing appropriately and thriving in its environment. And the way to do that is to measure its weight. Seems simple enough.
Right.
But if you think about it, we don't typically have scales in our homes that are appropriate to measure babies and to have that accuracy that you really want when you're making medical decisions.
Okay, so these babies are born prematurely, typically?
Most of them are. Not all of them, but the highest need is those babies who have been born premature or who maybe have another health condition that affects their growth, perhaps their digestion or their absorption of things.
And they're typically underweight.
And their pediatric provider really wants to keep a close eye on that to make sure that they are okay in their home environment. They told us, the providers, that if we could find a way to give these families scales, that would really be helpful, because the current situation is that the family has to come in once a week or so for weights. And as you can imagine, that would be burdensome for anyone, but certainly during the pandemic. We actually collaborated with one of our medical equipment providers to provide this service that's typically not reimbursed through Medicaid. But again, we saw the very clear need for it, so we decided to offer it as an enhanced benefit to our members.
Wow, very nice, very nice. So instead of that twice a week trip back to the hospital, then they can do it at home.
That's exactly right. So they can weigh the baby at home very easily and accurately, and either call that information into their pediatrician, or that scale can be used in conjunction with a telehealth visit where you get some objective data and then have a conversation with your provider. So it can be used in a variety of fashions. The scale is theirs to keep, so it's not a rental. And so if they have future infants, they can also use that scale to measure the growth of those babies as well.
And maybe future babies aren't necessarily underweight, but you do like to know how much your baby weighs and how much they're growing, and kind of keeping an eye on that.
That's exactly right. And that might be a very sensitive indicator of something going wrong. So if families have that at their disposal, they may be able to better communicate with their provider.
Okay. Now, you partnered with Riley hospital in this?
So the pediatricians at Riley were the first ones to speak to us about this need.
Okay.
So they were the ones that planted the seed, absolutely. And so we are very thankful for that. But this benefit is available to any of our providers statewide. All it requires is a doctor's order and a very, very simple form that is sent to the medical equipment provider. And the medical equipment provider takes it from there. So they will mail the scale to the families, and they will also help the family with any troubleshooting or technical issues that may arise.
Wow. So now, when you talk about it, any provider, that's a lot of scales.
It is potentially a lot of scales. Now, obviously, we want there to be a medical need for this.
Right.
So not every baby will require this intensive monitoring of their growth. But certainly, if a pediatrician feels that that's necessary, then we want this to be available for them.
Okay. So in weighing the baby, and being able to keep up with it, obviously, but what is the ultimate benefit of that in terms of as the baby develops?
So I think that there are a couple benefits. The first is, of course, establishing the well-being of the baby. The second is really making life easier for the families so that they don't have to come back and forth, shuffle other children and other responsibility. And I think that there's a huge psychological benefit in being able to provide this for families so that they can have peace of mind that their baby is thriving at home. So that's really the benefit. We have engaged with the state in providing this benefit, and they've been very supportive. So we are happy to be able to do this for our patients.
Okay, well, we love it, and I'm sure the patients appreciate it.
I certainly hope so, and the feedback has been very positive.
Okay. So anything else that CareSource is doing or has done or is about to do that addresses your social concerns or impacts patients?
We have a variety of things that we're doing. The benefit, our newest benefit is driver's license reinstatement. So there are a very large portion of our Hoosier population that have their driver's license suspended. And oftentimes this is for failing to demonstrate insurance or other financial concerns. And we really want people to be back on the road if they're safe and able to find and maintain employment and take care of the needs of their family. So for our members who are eligible, we will offset up to $500 of the fines and fees associated with driver's license reinstatement. Again, one of those social needs that we have recognized and we want to address. The other really nice benefit I think we offer is expungement. So we have a very active CareSource reentry program. We have a dedicated team of individuals that help people reintegrate into society.
Wow.
And a criminal background can be a huge barrier to obtaining employment, housing, certifications, licensures, etc. So again, for those members who are eligible, we will help offset the fees associated with expungement so that these individuals can have the very best opportunity to reintegrate into society and to do well.
Wow, that is really amazing. I've not heard of anything like that in terms of really getting, to the nitty-gritty of what meeting the needs of patients beyond the physical needs.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I'm so proud to work with CareSource, because I think that we really do have our finger on the pulse of those again, social determinants of health, those priorities that can oftentimes be a distraction, if you will, to taking the very best care of yourself. So we meet our members where they are, and we really try to help them achieve the very best lives that they can.
Wow, that's really impressive. I got
Thank you.
goosebumps. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So whether it is a healthcare provider or a person who is who's under your plan,
Yes.
how would they take advantage of that or some of your other programs?
So
Who
they
would
can
contact?
always contact member services. And if they're a CareSource member, we will certainly direct them to the appropriate staff that can help talk to them about these programs. If they're not yet a CareSource member, they can talk to FSSA and submit a Medicaid application, and they can choose CareSource, and we'd be happy to take care of them.
I bet you would. I love it. And you guys take good care
We absolutely do our best. We do
of
our
your patients,
best.
so I love it. Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming on and enlightening us. And folks, we encourage you to take advantage of what they're offering. Dr. Cameual Wright, who is CareSource Vice President and Market Chief Medical Officer. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk this afternoon.
Okay, appreciate you coming on and appreciating what CareSource is doing for its patients.
Excellent.
And we appreciate you for watching Inside Indy. I'm Kelly Vaughn, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The C19 Experience Community Gospel Concert is Sunday, August the 8th at 4 p.m. featuring Men in the Fire. The Olivet Baptist Church is the location at 4141 North High School Road, with food trucks, vendors, and VIP seating will be available. It's a free concert in Pike Township. Bring your lawn chairs and bring your family. Enjoy the music ministry of Men in the Fire. This is a C19 Experience.
Last year, Habitat for Missions flipped houses to build a trade school in Uganda for orphans, to expand another school in India for little girls that were at risk of industrial or sexual slavery. Right now, we are in the process of doing a build specifically for a group called Beyond the Storm, a disaster relief organization here in the U.S. We have in the past raised money for missionary doctors, for Bible college professors, for church planters on every continent of the world except Antarctica. And we're ready to do more. We've had inquiries from missionaries in Russia just recently, another one serving in Zambia. And all we're doing is looking for more homes that we can put our tradesmen to work to renovate them, to sell those homes so that we can continue to donate money to Christian Mission. So if you're interested in selling a house, please contact us.
Testing. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.